I'm going undercover on my own SMP server for 100 days. The goal? Don't get caught, and capture the dragon egg at the end of the video. This one is a lot of fun, and if you like what you see, come join the server at leg.gg. And now, let's get started. Okay, this could all fall apart instantaneously, or it might just work. But here we go. So I logged into the server doing my best to try to not immediately give up the game, checking out a bit of the overall server hub, and then warping into the SMP, where I'm going to be doing like 99% of this playthrough. There's a lot here, and we'll go through it as we get to it. Don't worry, this isn't just a 2-hour long ad. There's going to be some shenanigans along the way. Revisiting my throne from the Game of Thrones scenario, I popped over to EC Art, checked out all the different shops where you can pick up player heads. Some of them were closed. You can only access them at night. Then I remembered, oh yeah, this is a video, so I should really turn on shaders and make this genuinely look pretty. But I spoke with the NPC and teleported out into the wilderness, ending up in a very, and I mean very, snowy biome with mountains pretty barren as far as the eye can see. There was a ship off in the distance which I was able to loot to get some initial gear, not realizing that it had cursed binding until it was a little bit too late. Grabbing myself some wood for the boat to get my first pickaxe, which I headed over to the stone, consumed that, and started upgrading my tools right away. So yeah, with multiple players on the server, only a few need to sleep to move the day, so some of the days are going to feel a little bit fast, and I'm really on the clock to get done what I want to get done in this 100 days. That's the thing, we're not going to hide. We're not going to refuse to interact with people. We are going to be interacting with that and everyone on the server pretty frequently. I mean, we spawned in the middle of nowhere though. I continued running out and along, eventually finding my way to a spruce village. And while this would potentially be a good thing to turn into the base, I want to do something that's a little bit more vibrant. I don't know, I've never built in a snowy biome, so I think this one might not just be for me. People have been on the server for like 12 hours, and they've already unlocked the end. They can't go there, it's not available yet, but still. I finally found a few trees, making my way to a sakura biome standing on top of a mountain, which just looks amazing. But it turns out this would be directly next to one of the general teleport hubs that are available for the community, so might not be the place I want to be if I'm trying to be incognito. The server then reset, and it was time for sumo. I exist only for sumo. I'm smacking everyone with the fish. All right, excuse me, I'm just gonna pause this, move this up here. Let's take a second to thank this video's sponsor, Opera GX. I've been using Opera for over a year when they first reached out to me to sponsor another video. And I gotta say, I've never looked back. I specifically rely on the pop-out video player to have videos whenever I'm recording these videos, this one included. And knowing that I can keep 100 or so tabs open, yes, I am bad at that, and it having less of an impact on my machine than other browsers means that I can focus on recording and not browser management. Plus, you can make Opera look distinctly yours through different themes and wallpapers, as well as mods and different sounds that you can add, just like these. Ooh. Satisfying. And installing that is easy thanks to the GX store. And if you're worried about switching and starting over, don't be. There's a one-click import feature that can bring all of your bookmarks and saved passwords from your old browser to your brand new one. And Opera GX works with most Chrome extensions, allowing you to just carry over the functionality that you depend on. Opera has been my go-to browser for over a year now, and I recommend you all checking it out. And thank them so much for sponsoring this video. Now let me just click this, and let's get back to day 2, where I returned my way back to the spawn and getting started with this in earnest. I did check out the night market, which is a pretty good way to earn crowns that accepts one of 3 items that you could sell to it, but only at night in the game. And these are all pretty easy. I'm probably gonna try to get to them relatively quickly. But I'm standing on the server with some of the team within inches of them, and they don't know it's me. it feels pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. I teleported back to the valley so I could potentially really shack up in that Sakura biome, but found out that another player had actually set that up, checking out a little bit of their base and heading into day 3, where I teleported to another location, finding even more of this awesome custom terrain. I took out a few early mobs, grabbing iron so I could start upgrading my tools and armor, capturing Tanisha in a boat and jumping in that with her for a quick advancement, and then spending far too long trying to get myself a goat horn so I could troll everyone on the server. It didn't go well, the thing never charged me. So I headed out into a boat on the ocean and just started sailing away, finding the absolutely worst buried sunken treasure ever, and eventually ending up in this very autumnal looking woods area, which was honestly quite pretty, and threw down my camp to officially mark this as my home. This is where I'm gonna live for at least the next 3 real life days while I get myself set up and really on my feet. There were people in chat saying that they had just found a pink sheep. You know me and pink sheep, and some people on the server love to kill them just to upset me. If only they knew I was watching them do it. But I took a quick nap going into day 4, where a nearby cave was really calling my name, and if I can go down and get iron, which I desperately need for armor, starting to smelt that up, I set up a little bit of a farm space. I headed back down into the cave system, going down and finding a bit of diamonds, which is always honestly easier with the shaders, making my way to some lava, which once I get a diamond pick, I'll actually go to do the whole mining obsidian bit. But I'm grabbing any gold and redstone I find, just generally everything, because on the server you want to have a bit of everything so you could be prepared for what other players might want to buy, or what opportunities you can have with the NPC shops. Once my pockets were entirely full, I warped back up to the surface, joined the nap gang to advance the day into day 5. I made myself a clock, which is honestly gonna come really in handy. It helps you know the time of the Minecraft day, which corresponds to the different shops at spawn and when they are open or closed. I made myself my initial diamond tools and a few pieces of diamond armor to replace the ones that weren't bound onto my body, warping back to spawn, going for a little bit more sumo during the restart, and then heading over to check out the casino and the bundles. George here will buy different items from you, a certain number of each, and if you complete it, you get a giant chunk of change. And the first one is honestly pretty easy. Different dyes, most of which are accessible from 2 tall plants. So I warped back to my base, took all of the bone meal I could possibly use to convert the roses into more dye, turning that in right away and nabbing my first 500 crowns. I'm also trying to balance helping other players understand the server versus pretending to be absolutely new, and I am not always good with that balance. I might feel a little too helpful, so I really hope nobody catches me while doing this. Day 6, I did a very quick trip over to the resource nether, which is a resetting nether, so that way people don't need to mine for hours to find ancient debris, and just went running around for some resources. I'm fighting the piglins since I don't have any gold, pushing endermen into boats and killing them, not really lucking out with any pearl drops, but this is what I'm actually looking for, the bone blocks in the fossils here in the Soul Sand Valley. This is gonna let me get a lot of dye really quickly. But after warping back to the base, I'm using that on the ground to get the yellow and red dyes for the bundle that I have, warping back to spawn and dropping off some of my leftover iron armor for other new players. I went over to George, dropping off the yellow dye for yet another 500 crowns, and then I set up a little bit of a wheat farm while I was at it, so I would have food to be able to head back down through the caves and into the mine shaft, making my way and finding a geode nearby. Amethyst could potentially sell well, and mining up whatever lapis I can find for additional blue dye to fully complete out this bundle. But I'm not gonna miss out on any other, well, aqua instead of blue. I mined all the diamonds I could find, okay? I'm definitely gonna want absolutely all of them. Day 7, I once again warped out into the wilderness, finding a mangrove swamp, grabbing a few of the propagules from there and some sugarcane, both of which will come in handy if I want to make rockets at some point. Now, I'm not rushing to the end because the end fight is actually the finale of this video, and that's when everybody else will have figured out who I am if I do everything right. So I'm just trying to play it cautious. I made my way up towards a massive volcano with different pools of lava. Some of it had been converted into obsidian, and it's time for this bit. But once I had a few blocks of that, I just had to summit the mountain and enjoy the view. Just look at this terrain, Jen. Oh, that is so cool. I love it. I love it. so much. Doing my best to avoid a very fiery death, I headed down the mountain, finding a few cacti and some sand in a little mini desert biome, which I was able to grab, which would help me get towards green dye to complete out the bundle. There were some signs warning me of giant fissures into the ground and some initial starter bases that I was seeing in the distance. There's this really cool Pride rock setup, which if I hadn't already put down my camp, I might have wanted to have lived there, but we're gonna have really cool terrain. Just wait and see. But I picked up some different trees, finding some dark oak, which would help a lot. I can sell that to the night market for a decent chunk of change, killing some mobs to just get a few initial resources, and boating my way through the amazing terrain in this world. Once I was back to my base though, I plopped down all the cactus and sugarcane so that could set up for growing, and then warp back to spawn, heading into the laboratory and dropping down into the night market, running in and converting all of the dark oak logs, which I had stripped and sold for a pretty profit. I started the next morning fighting off an enderman who was getting a little bit mad about me potentially moving in, setting up all of the obsidian that I had mined from the volcano into a portal into the actual official nether dimension. And once I checked over there, it was pretty desolate. There was a little bit of quartz right nearby, which definitely was nice, but in looking around, I didn't see any other unique biomes or any structures nearby. And we're on 1.20, so I'm definitely gonna need to hit up a bastion at some point in the future. I warped back to spawn, taking the dyes that I had collected from both the cacti and from lapis, turning those both into George, and fully completing my first bundle in my first real life day. That's about 3,000 crowns. Not bad. After some more shenanigans at spawn with all the different players, I warped back to my base, chopping down a few of the birch trees just to make some space in my initial living area and get something that I can get some initial chests and storage set up. The next day, in both game and real life, I warped over to spawn to pick up my daily login reward, which gave me just a little bit of everything, heading to my base and planting down the berry bushes before going to explore my local area. Like I said, there's all this awesome terrain right here, including this beach made out of dead coral blocks, and they're really one of my favorite accents to work with if making them wasn't just so sad. But I filled my pockets with that, heading over to spawn to find out that it was sticks, blaze rods, and end rods for today's bundle. I headed over to the nether and then finally realized that I should turn shaders on, and don't worry, I only got that wrong like 3 or 4 more times. But I fought off a few ghosts, including getting the return to sender advancement, picked up the supplies from the nether, and found a random nether portal off in the distance. Thinking that it could potentially be a neighbor, I warped through and just found something embedded in the side of the mountain. That one was a little weird. Time for a nap. Day 10, I placed down a campfire at one of the nearby beehives to my base. It's actually in the wilds, but I can use it for now, and harvested a quick bit of honeycomb. I actually asked in chat to see if there was a blaze spawner anywhere, because it's not really an undercover video if I just kind of go and play and do my own thing. I'm going to go out of my way to interact with other players as much as possible to see if any of them could spot or get an idea that it's me. The skin is a bit of a giveaway, especially if you happen to know the lore behind all of my videos. Someone was actually in the process of building a spawner, so that could be a potential ally down the road. So I warped back to spawn, dropping off all of the sticks that I had acquired from all of the conversion, and then headed over to the Frank Sinatra Casino. And yes, it's a casino in the theme of Frank Sinatra. I did a little bit of gambling there, and it went horribly badly. There you go, kids. Now you know not to do that. The next day back at the base, I headed down into the caves to just get a little bit more in both resources, experience, and really, hopefully, diamonds. I was lucking out pretty good on redstone, iron, lapis, and some azalea leaves, even though I don't have silk touch or shears. There's the occasional diamonds as well, but the main problem came from a spider jockey with a power and flame bow. Oh no, I got rolled. Oh, that was so bad. Okay, this is gonna be a challenge. Yeah, we're not playing this one in hardcore because I was really nervous of everybody else in the server seeing somebody die once, quit, and then never rejoin again. So instead, we're just gearing up and heading back down into the caves, trying to recover all of our stuff. After a little bit of navigation and fighting a few mobs, I was able to pick everything back up. I did find a zombie villager who was following me for a little while, luring them over to a little bit bit more well-lit area inside of the lush cave, trapping them in a boat with some torches. And once I had that, I continued my way up the caves back over to my base, and hearing back from that friend a few days ago who had finally set up their blaze farm and was willing to sell me a bunch of blaze rods where I could actually make a profit turning it into the bundles. We negotiated that I would trade them half of the cost for all of the blaze rods that I needed, and that felt like a good deal to me. The next day, I actually spent some time setting up some deep slate, you're welcome, Dusk, and some stripped birch to be able to set up some walls for an initial little starter house. I figured this camp is good for a few days, I might as well live in something pretty cool. Once it turned to the right time of day, I walked back to spawn, trading with Ducky for the blaze rods, going over to George and stacking with all the players while waiting for that to open up. They don't know. They have no idea. They're just sitting in there in a stack with the community, and they have no clue. By the way, this is going to start opening a lot sooner by the time you all play this. We're like in day 2 of the server being live, and a whole lot more work is being done even as we're watching this. So this is going to improve pretty quickly. And look, I know this day might not be the most productive, but as I said, the challenge here is not getting caught, and having my eyes on a skin, at least that's the start where maybe they'll try to catch on. I turned in the blaze rods to George for 1,500 crowns, sending the 750 half payment to Ducky that I had promised. From there, I warped out randomly, just again looking for more resources, stumbling my way into some bamboo and jungle logs and some cocoa beans. All of this would come extremely useful just a little bit later down the road. Somebody who had actually lost their campfire and never got to make a land, and don't worry, we fixed that, needed somebody to teleport to them so they could warp to spawn, sell a few things, and then warp back to me. So I was willing to oblige and saw the most cursed carrots I ever have while standing here waiting. But as the sun rolled over the next day and they were safely home, I just ran out in a random direction, finding my way into this awesome looking mud biome with these cool stone spires and another spruce village, which again was making me think maybe this is a good place to go. But a lot of the players on this server, they were absolutely grinding, and we're going to be able to get other resources pretty quick. I'll show you that very soon. I looted up another portal which was nearby, finding some axes and other tools that were enchanted with all of the different cool custom enchants that we have on the server. Those are a lot of fun. And then saw the coolest potential base location. What? Oh, we're living in that. We're living in that tree. I wrote down the coordinates and then warped home. I needed to earn a little bit more in crowns to be able to create a new land so that I could actually set that as my home on a waypoint. So to be able to do that, I'm growing up different dark oak saplings, stripping it and converting it into the stripped logs, and then heading back to spawn when the night market is scheduled to open, sitting with players for a little while, and then dropping down the chute, turning in over a stack of that, and getting about 600 crowns in return. I'm only 400 short at this point to be able to make that into my land, and I will easily earn that out in the next day. But since I'm going to be moving sooner rather than later, I did spend a little bit of time immediately undoing the little bit of base doing that I had done just a day prior. I finished that up on day 14, throwing all of what would have been a starter base into a box and having that ready to go for later. I planted some potatoes and more dark oak saplings, growing those, murdered every type of pig, both 2 and 4-legged, before harvesting my sugarcane and doing just a little bit of fishing while waiting for saplings to grow. I had run out of bone meal. But while I was waiting for the night market to open up that night, Sierra logged on. Sierra's my editor. He's editing this video right now. Say hi, Sierra. Now, the goal of this video was to have nobody know who I was and have nobody able to figure it out. So I figured, why don't I tempt fate and touch fire and interact with him directly? And well, I got a bit of a mixed result. I think he knows. He looked straight at me. He looked straight at me. I think he knows. Oh no, I have a message on Discord. I think he knows. Okay, I'm gonna get him into a call right now. You can't tell
I'm
anyone.
not telling anyone. I am just laughing because I was like, wait a second.
Hi, am I stealthy enough?
It's basic. Have you talked in chat at all?
I've talked in chat. I don't think anybody else is on to me. The only thing that carries over from my original skin is the eyes. If you notice, they're the same.
Yeah.
You walk straight up to me and I'm like, he knows.
I recognize the name instantly because you used it last time. You should have changed it.
Well, nobody knew from last time, and you edited the last time we tried this, and it was
Yeah.
way too late in the season, so bummer.
Yeah. All right. Enjoy the recording. Good luck.
No. Hold on. Now I need your help.
Okay. I'm being coerced. And now continue.
Yes, get in the van. You're part of the content now. Welp. Okay, one person knows. He's my editor. He was gonna edit this video anyway. Or actually, Mudcat's editing this video. Say hello, Mudcat. I don't think they all know you too much yet. Where are you basing? Can I come visit your base?
Yeah. So, this is the place. For now, it is just this hole in the cave. There will be more done later. Don't worry. I'm going to be making a theater chat.
Oh yeah, I have heard about this. That since voice chat has
Yes.
enabled things, you're like, I'm gonna make a theater.
Yeah, and so
what is
Rookie helped
this?
clear it out. This also is the scarecrow the Rookie set up. That's all the spruce logs I'm going to be using. But very nice beach. Going to be starting to work on building this a little bit right now. I got this hoe at an ancient city.
Efficiency, fortune, mending. Ooh, nice. Thanks, bye. No, you can't even hit me. There's no PvP in here.
I mean, I can enable it. This is my land.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's actually true.
So yeah, there's a stack of potatoes.
You absolute legend.
Oh, I just picked them up accidentally.
You gave me one.
All right, get out of here before someone sees you.
They can see me, it's just they don't need to know that I'm me.
Good night.
He knows. And well, you always ask for multiplayer 100 days. Here you go. And look, okay, we're gonna keep going. Now it becomes anybody who isn't paid to work on these videos doesn't find me out. Okay? Okay, cool, let's go. Day 16, I logged in for the server for the day, harvesting up a few potatoes that I had left cooking for me overnight IRL, and stripped and chopped down a bunch of the dark oak logs so I can get the crowns that I need to be able to set up my first land and set up a proper base at that massive azalea and or oak tree that I had seen in the distance. I had logged in early enough in the morning this day that the bundle hadn't actually rolled over and reset, so that wasn't going to be a way that I was going to be able to get any sort of money, but I headed down into the caves while the trees were growing and harvested up a bit more obsidian. One thing that I forgot to mention back when I died is I didn't actually throw that leather chest plate back on, and instead I converted myself to a full diamond set, which meant I was a little bit more protected than I was last time I was down in these caves, and I was a little bit more confident taking down all the mobs. The next morning, however, it was time to really head out and start heading in the direction of where that tree is. It's actually extremely far away from where I was at my spawn, and I don't know where the other different warp coordinates are that would actually get me a little bit closer, so I'm thinking I'm just gonna go and rough it the long way. I found a sunken ship that had a treasure map there. I threw that in my offhand. As long as I'm heading in that direction, I might as well go to grab something. I stumbled my way onto the beach, and this is a unique situation I'm not in regularly. I can be beaten to something. I don't know if I'm gonna find a map and it's gonna be there, because I'm not alone in this world. That's the cool part. Yeah, I got beaten to this. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised. The players on this server are absolutely bonkers, and they will go so hard in getting things done. But I'm super excited. We have so much more to do. But actually, it was getting a little bit late, and I figure there's no point in getting to those coordinates if I don't have the crowns in pocket. So I warped back to spawn, waited for the night market to open, dropped off all of the stripped dark oak logs that I had, and I finally had enough to create my first land, and we're gonna be doing that tomorrow. So the next day, it's time to sail. I'm out on the ocean, heading in basically a straight beeline, looting any ships that I happen to find, but I'm passing ocean monuments and glaciers, icebergs, these awesome ships that are set up in the water, and this really cool terrain that you just constantly pass by, and it looks wonderful. Once I hit a little bit of land that was actually starting to get a little bit closer to the coordinates that I was hoping to be at, I transferred to working on foot, and as it started to rain, and I'm thinking this is going to be a little bit longer, there it was. I was approaching the tree from the other side, so it wasn't as clear that I'd finally made it, but I created my land, Dragon's Perch. And if you've ever been in my D&D world, you know the significance of that specific name. But I chopped my way into the tree and actually found out it was hollow, and it goes down it goes down really far. But I threw down some torches to set up an initial little area of spawn safety that I'm not going to get jumped by a creeper or a skeleton in the middle of the morning. But with that done, it's time to actually convert this tree into a base. And I'm thinking I'm going to go with a really cool tiered treehouse design. I set some initial flooring up right at the level of basically what is ground floor, and then wanted to see how deep this thing goes. I'm throwing torches everywhere, and it turns out this goes down into a massive lush cave biome, something that has an inordinate amount of moss and plants down there, and that is going to come in oh so very handy. But I don't only want to live down, I want to live up as well. So I set up some ladders and started building some upper platforms out of the base, making a small little storage room with a few chests there, and then warping back and forth from one land to the other. And don't worry, I will remember shaders at some point soon. Transferring all of my loot over from my original camp, which would self-delete at the end of this day, over towards Dragon's Perch, which would be my more permanent forever home of a base. And you know what they say, once the bed is down, then it's actually real. Day 20, and more work needs to be done around here. My initial thought was setting up the storage room inside of the base with just a few chests and trying to hold myself to smaller and not just item hoarding, and that is never gonna fly. But I chopped my way through some of the upper layers of the trees, setting up these small little birch platforms and tiers where I'm gonna have all sorts of ladders and walkways and elevators to move me from one to the next, looping through and around the branches, just to have a very naturalistic kind of base design. I threw down the bamboo, set up some very basic railings so Minecraft OSHA wouldn't come for me, and just started setting up very early starter farms. And this little tree is about to become a tree home. Yeah, put the pun on your bingo cards. The next day, I honestly just spent it building and organizing. Let's use an old joke for a second. Inventory management montage. It's been a long time since I said that. It feels good. But I moved everything from the chests that were just sitting in my front yard into a set of organized chests inside the second layer of the base. I also planted down a lot of the pink petals, set up trapdoor and door for the base so it actually is, you know, kind of safe, and got everything organized to the point of everything I have now. It will undoubtedly need to grow, as does my base and my overall resources. I mean, some people are already building massive mega item sorters in this world. I am just barely playing catch up. I surveyed the area immediately around my base from one of the upper levels, and don't worry, I'll turn on shaders in about a day or so, and then warped back to spawn to pick up my daily login reward, which is mainly for the crowns, checking in with George and finding out that I basically need to go get a lot of book making accessories that I could turn into new crowns, but I'll do that tomorrow. Procrastination is totally a thing, as I chopped down a whole bunch of spruce trees in the morning, mainly to get myself up to wood to cook that into charcoal, heading off into the wilderness and finding a few squids in a nearby river, murdering them for their sacks and getting... Is that a, yeah, no, okay, we're just gonna leave that and not talk about it. But a bit further out and along in this really cool jungle biome, I found some cows who I was able to kill and convert into a lot of leather and steak. This just looks like Pandora, I'm not gonna lie. The coordinates are in the top left-hand corner of the screen. If any of you connect to the server and build a base here, please let me know. I would love to see what you make with this. But a little bit deeper in that area was an abandoned mineshaft. I worked my way through several of the sections, eventually remembering to turn on shaders, collecting a little bit here and there, but not finding any of the spawners. There were some blocks in a couple slightly sus places, so I think maybe someone had gotten here first. But once the sun had set, I warped back to the spawn, dropped down into the night market, and checked what the new purchases are. These rotate every 3 IRL days, so it also gives you a bit of a rough idea of what my recording timeline looks like for this video. All of these were a little bit harder to make than what I had seen previously, so I spun my way back to Dragon's Perch, picked up all the charcoal and resources that I could turn in for the bundle tomorrow. The next morning, I grabbed myself a little bit of water so I could drop down the tree without breaking my ankles, focusing on setting up a lower entrance into the overall base and getting some water that I could shovel up to the main area so I could have an infinite water source a little bit closer instead of having to head down to the river. With that, I hid some water behind a few blocks, setting up a very rudimentary carrot, potato, and wheat farm, having that all intermixed so I could get some basic food here and there. Once the shops had opened for the day, I warped in and turned in a bunch of the different resources into George, getting coal and feathers completely taken care of, and then setting up a few additional platforms and a spiral staircase from the lower entrance all the way up to the main entrance on the surface so I could access my treehouse from either potential location. There's no railings, it's meant to be unsafe and fun, and I'm climbing and jumping my way through here just like I'm jumping while axing this Enderman a question. And just for all of you watching, Sierra threatened to quit the next time I make this pun. If you saw this video, he didn't follow through. Oh, that's gonna get me in so much trouble. The next morning, I headed out around my base to just try to find some nearby passive mobs so I could set up some animal farms in addition to the different crops that I had collected. There's a few sheep relatively nearby that I was able to lure over with the promise of some wheat and then pen in directly next to the tree itself. But I want to go with a really cool kind of natural alcoves for all of them. So I dug a little bit of a hole into one of the walls, set up some pathing to go into there. And the first thing I wanted to just bury back into a hole was a portal into the underworld, you know, as you do, casually, with friends. But people were asking for a sleep, so one nap later, I'm heading into the nether in my new base location to see what I could find. I spawned deep into a crimson forest, which initially I'm like, oh cool, I can grab a whole bunch of this red wood. Didn't know what I'd actually use it for in the build. I'm looking around and trying to see what's around, and I am very high up in the nether overall, so this is gonna take some work to be able to navigate it. I'm fighting off ghasts and scaring off hoglins because I'm still an unenchanted diamond. Even that many piglins definitely had me at a little bit of a nervous position, if not an actually dangerous one. Once I was back in the overworld though, I figured I'd go get resources from around, just, you know, around, wildly randomly teleporting, heading off in another direction, finding some more chickens and cows that I could turn into book components that I could trade into George for crowns or just have on hand. I might be leaving a few written books here and around the server a bit. Right as the sun rolled over to day 26, I was able to take out an Enderman for a quick pearl, fighting more cows and zombies and basically anything I saw, just trying to get whatever drops I can in the local area. And you're gonna hear me say this a lot, I really love the terrain gen we have in this world, including this little thing. That's a really cool little mushroom. If anybody wants to find it, there you go. Again, I'm just touring the server for you. Cottagecore vibes aside, I headed through another autumnal valley and then into this mega savanna, getting to a river and then figuring that's probably as good enough of a sign as any. I then committed the ultimate mistake that people do when trying to open a door with an axe, planted the sugarcane around the pond here, crafted up a few books, turning those into writable books. It wasn't enough that I could turn into George, but it is enough that I could hide some lore here or there. I did a little bit of chores around the base and called it a night there. Going into day 27, where I'm working again on the upper areas of the overall base. I want to set up multiple different platforms, have them all look like they're single tasked. It might not be where I actually do some of these tasks, but it is the decoration that I want for this overall very Caruso family, old school mega tree house is what I'm going for. I'm looping platforms through and around the base, and through the magic of editing, this recording is actually one IRL day later than the previous Minecraft day, so I warped back to spawn to check out what the new bundles were, and they're all iron tools. I think I can actually do something interesting with this. First thing I did was head home and convert a lot of the coal that I had into the 100 torches needed, turning that in immediately, and once again remembering to turn shaders on. You can probably guess where each recording session started by now. I headed down through the actual trunk of the tree into the mega lush cave, going into the mines for all of the iron that I could possibly find. I'm dealing with some creepers that are trying to jump scare here and there, but continuing multiple days down in the lower cave system, fighting off skeletons. There's no way I'm gonna go down twice in one video. And despite coming down here from iron, I was really hitting it off with different diamonds pretty often. I had about 16 with just about an in-game day's worth of mining. Not bad. I set all the iron up to smelt so I could go ahead and make all of the tools that I would need, returning back to spawn and trying to convince one of my mods to place a crafting table inside of George's base. I did this intentionally, knowing that I would also suggest it as me in the Discord, and it's just another little carrot that I'm dropping to see if anybody really sort of notices or catches on to this one random player being a little too knowledgeable of all of the game systems. But failing that, there was a crafting table actually at the spawn itself, which I was able to use to craft up a lot of the pickaxes, turning them all in and getting locked inside. Knowing that I'm gonna have to return back a little bit later, I used the same crafting table to convert all of the sticks and iron into shovels, which would be the second thing I needed to turn in. And I really hope you're enjoying this 100 days because it is very different from what I normally do. Without any context, my inventory looks like that of an absolute madman, but this is going to make me money, I swear. All right, we need to wait for morning. Let's see if we can convince everybody to sleep. Spoiler alert, I sat in this bed for about 6 minutes IRL waiting for the day to roll over because they did not. Day 29, we're almost a third done with this challenge so far, and I have what feels like just a little bit more than a starter base. Somebody did need a mangrove propagule though, and I butchered the pronunciation of both of those previous words, but I did hand one off for a couple 100 crowns. That's a pretty easy win. Once George had opened up, I proceeded to shove a ton of shovels down his throat, getting myself a little bit closer towards the reward, and then figured I'd warp over towards the mall. Now this is the main hub for player run shops. Everything that you've seen to this point so far was executed by the server itself. It's the money being created from thin air. This is where the economy actually happens. And there's several pretty large factions on the server who just love running mega shops and have some amazing farms to boot. And I need a whole bunch more crowns if I'm going to be shopping here. I am effectively broke. I wilded out to a random area in the savannah, stumbling my way into a savannah village with a lot of villagers here. Now, at first, when I looked at the coords, I thought this was relatively close to my base and could potentially work as a second land and a second warp location that I could use to be able to set up some industry of my own. But as I was standing in this village trying to protect the villagers and sleeping here while one of them was proceeding to just stand on my chest aggressively, I realized that all of the players on the server who are making giga farms are probably going to outpace me. So I abandoned the village, continuing on in the morning of day 30, ending up in this amazing blue orchid field and not being alone there. Oh, hello. No, get over here. Oh, the mini blocks. I didn't even. Oh. I'm sorry, friend, but I need the leads. Mongo, you killed a pink sheep. This is your fault. I returned back to home and placed down this weird decoration. I have no idea how I got it, using the leads to capture a few chickens and return them back to my base, which would allow me to set up my second passive mob farm. TNT, one of my mods, actually needed lapis for his enchanting setup, so I invited him to pop over while I was in the process of setting the chicken farm up to once again just interact with my mods stealthily all on my own. I figured I'd ask if he was that deep into enchanting if he had some books to spare, and I lucked out. I don't think he knows. Oh, TNT may be coming in clutch here. Oh, your head is on backwards. I tricked one of my mods into giving me books. This is wonderful. Yes, he doesn't know. Oh, I am so excited about that. I'm just watching Discord like a hawk right now to see if I'm gonna get a confused ping, but so far so good. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that did that. While geeking out over the little particle effects that they took the time to add, because that is the kind of team I have behind this server, I used some of those dead coral blocks to add a little bit additional texture and character to the pathing here, so this place was starting to look really unique. Day 31, I'm starting to put those books to use, and we need to make an enchanting setup. Now, normally in these 100 days, you see me do the tiniest bit of enchanting, and then basically get 1 or 2 villagers to get me the high tier books that I want. And it's funny, this was happening around the same time as all of the conversations surrounding the new changes in 1.20.2, which would change the way that villagers work. So in the moment, it was insanely topical. But this is because we have about 60 custom enchants on the server, and all of them do really cool things, from excavating in 3x3 areas, to auto smelting ores, to having basically nether fortune. It's really genuinely amazing. I spent all of the time and invested about 60 of the books setting up a full level 30 enchanting setup, and then spending a little bit more time on top of that, taking the different resources I had collected and taking some of the dead coral as well to improve on the lower entrance into the base, since the enchanting setup was about halfway up. I then invited TNT over to see the final product that his donation of books had enabled. And honestly, it's an enchanting setup, but it's in a room that is very similar to things that I have made before, and I was just waiting to see if potentially he would notice or recognize my general build style. He didn't, and realistically, it's a very small room. That kind of makes sense. But I am just going to continue playing with fire as much as I want. But that was the next IRL day. And you'll notice this time I remembered to have shaders on from the very beginning. It's because I didn't play on MCC Island in the middle of this. I just did these two recordings back to back. But I headed out from my base in another new direction, just trying to see what I could find. I found a set of really cool enchanted golden leggings at a ruined nether portal, heading off to a bit of a beach, and then finding a cow that was relatively close, seeing if a second cow was anywhere nearby. Unfortunately, no, so I grabbed the one and started the several hundred block journey back to spawn. I grabbed another sheep just for good measure and really struggled with getting them to follow me. I should have done this with wheat in my offhand, but I just didn't think about it and instead would just continuously pull mobs along. I got them on a pole and then found a whole ton of cows, maybe 50 blocks from my base tops. And I'd spent the whole day carting this one cow from basically a mile away. It literally was one of those stories that my parents used to tell about walking uphill both ways and doing it the hard way. So on the morning of day 33, now a little bit prepared and knowing exactly where I needed to go, I leaded two of the cows and headed them over this very small land bridge and got them to my base in under a minute. Tops. I carved out a little alcove to be able to hide them both in. This would allow me to have these kind of nice little pens off and in this general area surrounding my base, keeping the overall footprint small, but very much in tune with nature, which is what I want the base to look like. I sheared a bunch of the sheep for wool just in case I ever happened to stumble my way into an ancient city, then found another chicken, leading them up and over the hill and across the bridge, mining the blocks underneath them to finally get two chickens in that pen and get the breeding going there as well. While I was doing a little bit of enchanting though, one of the other members of the server said that they were having a little bit of a problem with the warden, so I decided to warp over and help. They had unfortunately recently died, but thankfully for them, I wasn't the only player who was here and more than willing to help out. Unthankfully for them, I was gonna play it a little unsafe. Now, if you've been watching me play BattleBox at all, you know that I'm pretty good at playing the bait. So I used a water bucket to obsidian over the lava that the warden was stuck in, since it would never despawn while it was suspended in a fluid, and what followed was chaos. It's still over there. I have no blocks. I came with a bucket and a prayer. I'm gonna die here. Get me out of here. That was ridiculous, but in the best possible way. Okay, I need something. Like food. Food would help. I'm just gonna keep engaging with this. I want them to be able to be. I'm trying to help so bad. I can help. Avery, let me help. Let me help Avery. Unfortunately, it did look like Avery's gear had been lost, so they were gonna be building their way back up, but at least we got a cool story out of it, right? But with that done, I warped back to spawn, helped a few players figure out what the night market works, and then made the unfortunate mistake of wandering into EC Art, where my mods will troll me with a bunch of random map images that they've made. I also headed over to the bank and decided to deposit about 2,000 of my crowns into there so I would be able to get the weekly interest, which was about to tick over as that day was a Sunday. I headed back home, focused on breeding a lot of the mobs, and then started fighting with the chickens as the pen was a little bit too big at first, and then I tried to make it too small, and then I tried to drown the chickens, and then the fence didn't fully place, and that was a struggle. Day 35, and knowing that I need another income source, I had an idea for a shop. Given the immense amount of references I'm trying to build in, I thought another one would be good to call back to cookies. It's what I call the channel points on all of my streams, which I thoroughly recommend you coming and tuning into. But if I can grow cookies at a semi-industrial rate, I can go ahead and just build a shop that's one big meme. Before I could do that though, I warped back to spawn to pick pick up my daily reward again, checking the new bundle and figuring out that it was a bunch of redstone components. Lucky for me, I had been collecting redstone basically since day one in this world. Unlucky for me, I still don't have silk touch, so making things like repeaters and other things does require me to go ahead and smelt up stone. That's a bit of a bummer. But turning in the redstone dust was relatively easy. Peep that new icon in the corner. That's definitely a cool addition. But I'm gonna need more, so I headed down through the cave, looping and winding my way through a couple of the different and new areas, parts of it that I hadn't fully explored yet, stumbling on a massive cave that also dug into a set of spider spawners for a mine shaft. Now, you can actually move spawners on this server, but it does require silk touch, so I can't do it just yet. So I focused on looting the mine shaft itself, finding some really interesting books. That warp drive enchant, that's gonna come in handy later. I grabbed that, any diamonds, threw torches down to try to make this place a little bit safer, and found a regular, unfortunately unenchanted golden apple in one of the chests. And that was the end of this day, because it was time to do the launch live stream on the SMP, where I was trying very hard to not give an indication that I already knew how a lot of these systems actually worked. We had the most players we've ever had on the server until that point on that day, and I was so excited that immediately after the stream, I turned the VPN back on and I was back at it. Starting day 36 by continuing to mine diamonds, fighting off any cave spiders and skeletons that I was finding in the mines, and converting all of the cobwebs that I could into more string, finding redstone so I can craft up everything else that I needed. The dispensers are a little tricky. I really wish there was a way that Mojang could make these easier to craft, but I get that bows don't stack. The repeaters just took a lot of resources, but eventually I made my way through it, dropping everything back off at George and fully completing the bundle. I waited there for the night market and didn't really have a lot to do, so I headed out because somebody needed help in recovering their gear. So I went with Sai, just trying to help them re-find their stuff, jumping in a boat and playing a bit of a bodyguard as I continued down and grabbed all of their stuff. As it rolled over to the next day though, we continued moving around. There were some things here that I'd actually used. Some dripstone, redstone, killing a couple mobs, and finding a few diamonds, which I did share with my neighbor actually on my main account. They have no idea I was playing with them before I was actually playing with them. It was kind of funny. I'm actually right next to where Legundo's land is, even though I'm currently playing underneath it. We did find a deep dark area though, and that could have been very interesting to raid. I'm breaking down any of the shriekers that I find, just trying to make sure that a warden doesn't get spawned on top of our head, but despite finding an immense amount of deep dark, there was no city. The server restarted then, so we spent just a little bit of time smacking each other with fish in the sumo arena before returning back to the deep dark, continuing to try to search my way through and see if potentially there's a city at some point along here. There's a lot of XP I was able to get, a lot more diamonds which I was able to mine out, and mining up a whole bunch of skulk allowed me to get myself up well over level 30 that I could theoretically do some enchanting on all of my gear. But at one point, Sai had given up, so I returned home and got to enchanting. That is 75% boost to ancient debris drops. So ancient debris will drop 2 potentially, or even 3. That's amazing. That's another pickaxe. Let's check armors. Protection 4, last 4, protection 4, 3. Okay, let's get the prot 4 pants. Basic, but okay. Fire, blast. Efficiency is probably the way to go here. Oh, infinity would be very nice, because then I can put that on it. That would be so cool. So I'm gonna need to go ancient debris mining stats to upgrade everything that I'm going to be able to get netherite, but I really want to spend some time getting this cookie production operation running. So I set up a little tiered farm area off in the back corner of my land where I could grow a heck of a lot of wheat, and combining that with the cocoa beans to be able to set up some very rudimentary farms. The next day I warped over to the mall towards the black market to buy myself some slime balls, as well as some different enchants allowing me to convert these slime balls into slime blocks and sell those back to the server for a profit. And getting silk touch on my pickaxe would allow me to head down into the mines and break spawners. You know that thing that everybody always joked that you can do? Yeah, you can actually do it on this server, and it allows people to set up some really amazing farms. It rolled over to day 41 while I was still underground, so I continued working my way around, just finding whatever I could. I'm trying to stockpile as many diamonds as possible possible because I do have the goal of selling either upgrade templates or trims if I could happen to get my hands on one, as they are a very limited but easily renewable supply once you have some good fortune enchantments on hand. But I was also just mining up a lot of the mineshaft for decorations because I'm going to set up my own shop there in the mall to try to sell off these spawners for a quick profit and get people ready to come to me for some more eclectic things. There's major factions like the Black Market who own huge swaths of the economy on this server, but I feel I can carve out something special for myself if I play my cards right. So I headed off to the mall, rented off the shop stall directly in front of the Black Market just to really rub it in, and spent some time building up a small miniature cave diorama with a very clear mineshaft theme, and before setting the price of my spawner, went and saw how much they cost to buy them from the server itself. I also was able to finally check out what the night market was selling, and there was some good stuff here, but I'm gonna have to go to the nether for this. I'll get to it later. So I set the price of my cave spider spawners to be 10,000 less than the server itself, just driving the price down, hoping they'll purchase from me instead of the ones that are ethereal from the server. And if you do play on the server, I recommend doing this. Find something that you can just corner the market on or provide a lot of value, and people are pretty quick to just go buy it instead of grinding it out because everybody has awesome builds to do. I announced my sale in the global chat and then went back to my home, mining up a lot of stone, now with Silk Touch not having to worry about anything else, making a whole lot of stone brick slabs, thinking, oh my goodness, this is everything I need. There was stone brick slabs in the night market. I'm totally set. While waiting for night to fall, I crafted up a ton of cookies and also set those as a really low price, just as a starter food or a gimmick for people to try to get them in, and then having them go over and potentially buy a spawner, like an impulse purchase. It's the candy in the checkout aisle, except those cookies can also be delivered. I am going to make cookies available. TVA, JC, Dragon Dad's cookie delivery service. After the initial little food delivery, more was requested, so I headed back to my spawn. This is working so well. This is the silliest thing that I could be doing right now, and I'm here for it. Used a bunch of the bone meal that I had purchased, crafted up a whole bunch more wheat, made a whole ton more cookies, warped over to J Seeds and delivered them, and then headed to spawn. That worked so well. Wait until people find out that they're from me. Oh, this is gonna be so much fun. I can't wait. So with several stacks of half stone brick slabs in my inventory, I thought I was set up for a massive payday. Unfortunately, I had miscalculated and forgot to read the fine print. I've messed up horribly. It's a mossy stone brick slab. Oh no. With that massive failure, I just warped back home and went to bed. Burned a bit on the concept of the mossy stone brick slabs, I warped off to the resource nether to just head around and see what I could potentially find. There was a fortress here, but unfortunately, I wasn't here first. And while they might have taken the spawners, the bone blocks were left behind, and I can use this to grow up the wheat to really empower my cookie creating empire. With no spawners to work with, I only have spare blazes that I could fight, but they weren't dropping rods at all. So I took my aggression out on a ghast by throwing a fireball right back at its face and see how it likes it. But with striking out on the nether mining expedition and finding a fortress and knowing that it was already spoken for, I just returned home and grew wheat for the remainder of the evening, really setting up my cookie empire for success and stocking my shop in the mall. Day 44, it was time to actually expand the land a little bit. You can do this by just investing crowns in your area, and I was able to just expand the area that is protected and mine, so that way nobody can really encroach on the space that I want to turn into my long-term base. Because funny enough, I'm going to keep playing on this server after this video is over. You're going to see it on streams, and I'm going to take over where Dragon Dad left off as Legundo. This is going to become my new home. Now, through the concept of movie magic, this day is actually one IRL day later than the day previous, so I spent some time checking in on my shop on the mall, and then also seeing what the new daily bundle was. This being paper, compasses, maps, all stuff that I can easily purchase from the black market. market. A bunch of iron combined with the redstone that I had is all the compasses I could potentially earn at a profit, mind you, just being smart with a few things. But with that in my pocket, I spent the evening, considering I was still a little burned on the slab incident, to go ahead and work on my base. I used a lot of the birch wood and just a few other things that I had on hand to start setting up an initial pier entry to the overall base down into the river. So that way I'm not existing only up on the mountain, but my base is actually both in, under, and on top of the tree. Really just trying to control this entire cliff face. Okay, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. The next 2 days are really boring gameplay wise, but do help me a ton when it comes to my overall progression. I was over and frustrated with the mossy versus non-mossy incident, so I spent a full 30 minutes just mining out moss in the mega lush cave, which existed directly underneath the mega azalea tree that I had decided to call home, and then spent a lot more time mining out stone with only an efficiency 3 stone pickaxe, and I was desperately missing my Instamine haste beacons from the hardcore world at this point. My inventory was completely full after that half an hour mining session, and the kind of thing that people would normally not mine out thinking that would turn into some massive profit, but oh, that was going to pay off very quickly. I carved the stone into stone bricks, crafted that with the moss to turn that into mossy stone bricks, and then stone cut that into the slabs, basically getting 1 stack of slabs for either 1 stack of stone or 1 stack of moss. As long as they were even. The math works out weird, but you get what I'm trying to say here. I spent some time breeding up all of the animals, heading over towards spawn and checking out Shady Cats, where Avery puts a ton of work into making these custom player head plushies, usually by killing themselves with a very specific skin on, but I bought myself an LA plushie because I just thought it would be cute. But with my pockets full of slabs, I hung out in front of the entrance to the night market with a few other players, and once it opened, dropped my way down, ran over, and sold off multiple stacks of slabs for over 25,000 crowns in profit. That is very satisfying. I spent some time looking at the custom enchants which were available, none of which seemed immediately amazing, before combining a few diamond pickaxes to get things repaired. Since I don't really have mending, I have nether prospector on this pick now, which will help me to get more ancient debris, and we will do more with that, but just a little bit later. But I want to continue with the helping of other players on this server just so they can watch this video and go, wait a second. So I did see somebody who was asking for some carrots and potatoes, and I had more than spare. So I warped over to them to drop them off, and then realized that they were actually my neighbor, barely 1,000 blocks away from where I'm living right now. So I was pretty excited to find people who were in my local area. Day 49, I plopped down that LA plushie before heading and checking out all the different player warps. A few of them pointing to interesting things, but nothing that I could really access or felt good to. I picked up my daily reward as this was the next IRL day, and then headed over to my base, taking the warp drive books and setting them aside. I'm gonna save those for the fight at the end of this video, and then going over and checking out E Emporium. It basically acts like Joja in Stardew Valley, and it sells a lot of the same things that the city does, just with more guilt for buckling to capitalism. One of the benefits here is that it doesn't work on the same hours, so you can get basically anything you want all day if you know to go over to the dark side. So I started mining out a space for a zombie spawner. This would allow me to set up a recurring source of XP, so I could start enchanting level 30 enchants repeatedly to try to get a lot of the custom enchants that we have on the server and not worrying on a single roll. Another player had just died and lost all their stuff, so I threw a few diamonds their way and warped away after a short little conversation. We have voice chat and you can talk with people, but it doesn't work for Bedrock, and it wasn't going to work for me if I'm trying to stay incognito. But we're here, day 50, the midpoint of this adventure. I brought my brand new friend over and allowed them access to my place, just a place to base out of and be able to access. I made my land basically public, just nobody would be able to go inside or kill any of the mobs. I'm just a waypoint now for the world. And with my new neighbor set up and well fed, I went back down to where I was setting up the zombie spawner, carving out the full path and throwing down some water blocks with an infinite water source in my enchanting area to start getting this set up as a proper mob grinder. I set up a little killing chamber only about 10 blocks below it because I'm not worried about making everything one hit just yet. I just want to see if this is going to work at all. Throwing down some fence gates to hold back the tide of the water, and then placing an upgrading the spawner a couple different times, which would increase the rapidness at which it would spawn mobs and how many mobs it would spawn each time. And this does get ridiculous if you start stacking multiple spawners and multiple upgrades. And thankfully, they don't have AI. It's for lag purposes. Don't worry, I'll make a proper killing chamber, but for right now, we're just bullying the target dummies. The next day, I spent quite a bit of time getting an actual proper killing chamber set up. I can just stand here and stab them for forever, but it's a lot easier if they're contained in a small space. I did all of the killing to get myself up to level 30 to start rolling on max tier enchants, ending up with a sword that had end affinity and smite, and it was okay, but it wasn't really great. So I went and made myself a couple of hoppers, went down to the mob farm, which was overflowing at this point, set up a very rudimentary collection system underneath, and then did some more stabbing again until I could go and enchant on my stuff. I got stamina for the chest plate, which would make sprinting a lot cheaper, and then saw that I'd be able to get a whole lot of protection enchants, which will come in handy. I also had a ton of mossy slabs in my pocket, which in warping back to spawn and then running over to the night market, I turned in for another cool 20k in profit. The next day, I wanted to make the mob farm easier to get to and from, and also move it down so the mobs took a little bit more damage so they were quicker to stab. So I went ahead and crafted up a few elevators. These are a block that we've added to the server, which allow you to teleport straight up and down, and you can set the color of it, decorate it as much as you want. So I made it look at least a little integrated into the base. I would be able to warp down, stab a whole bunch of ankles, warp back up, do some enchanting, try to get anything good, warp back down, stab some ankles, warp back up, do more enchanting, try to get something good. You know, having another 45 enchants in the pool definitely makes getting the one that you want even harder. And while it has some really cool enchants on the server, it does mean that we've kind of unintentionally made this a little bit worse. There's undoubtedly gonna be players who get all of the enchants on villagers, which you can, by the way, but yeah, we'll give this a little bit of time. I did combine a ton of really good books, getting a sword that would be very good for the Ender Dragon fight at the end of this challenge, and that's something that we're going to spend a whole lot of time investing into. I finally had a fortune pickaxe, which was wonderful, but at some point in time, I had heard a player falling when I was in my enchanting area. Go back and hear it again. And it turns out that's somebody who just randomly teleported into my land and onto my tree. So that was funny. I spent some time saying hello. Shadow Ninja was potentially going to be a neighbor of mine. That's always nice to interact with the people on the server before warping over to the mall and trying to see if I could get some of the enchants that I can't find on the table from some books that are for sale. I mean, I'm pretty flush with cash as it stands. I bought myself a fortune book, which would allow me to get a heck of a lot more diamonds. They will definitely come in handy later, and then went back down into the mines, mining up more moss for more mossy slabs for another pass at the night market. The following morning, I went and crafted up a whole ton of paper, which was part of that day's daily bundle, turning that in for a cool 1,000 crowns in profit. Definitely nice. I walked around and headed over to the bank, actually, since it was about to roll over on the interest for the week. Interest compounds on Sundays. I deposited as much of my money as I could spare into the bank, so I'd get a little bit of money for free. That's how money works. I did get locked inside though, which I don't think they're legally allowed to do unless you're legally allowed to unlock the vault as well. But a quick teleport allowed me to get out of there, get over to the night market, and earn a cool couple thousand from another set of slabs. Hey, are you tired of enchanting yet? Well, okay, you might want to just skip day 54 because I spent quite a bit of time combining books, combining all of books onto my armors, killing an immense amount of zombies and a few chickens that happen to get pulled along as accomplices for the ride, and took all of the money that I've been earning from the black market to upgrade further the spawner into its maximum tiers, meaning I'm getting double the normal mobs at double the rate of traditional spawning. It's like 6x on top of a regular spawner. And now you know why they don't have AI. I continued doing more enchanting on the pickaxes, killing the children that happen to escape the murder chamber occasionally, and my gear is starting to come together. Day 55, I need to do a little bit more work to make sure that that really works, so I cooked up a few potatoes and heading down to my netherite mines so I could potentially get some more ancient debris with this netherite pickaxe, which would now be able to insta-mine a little bit better and last a little bit longer. I'm mining around any of the gold ores that I find, picking up whatever ancient debris that I can, getting 4 from 2, and man, I really love Nether Prospector because in only finding 4 ores, I had enough for 2 ingots. 2-for-1 sales are always great. I warped back to spawn and added that to my chest, getting 13 in total, which isn't enough for a full set of armor and weapons, but is a good start. But as it was late and Nap Gang had not yet fully taken over, I spent some time harvesting all the crops, replanting potatoes so I had a good food source here at home, and harvesting all of the wheat so I could turn that into cookies to sell in my shop. Because I'm really committed to the bit, even more so that I'm doing more deliveries of full stacks of cookies for only 40 crowns, people who are out in the wilderness and needing of a snack. I love this gag, and I'm gonna do it for the rest of the stream. And I'm gonna keep doing it for the rest of the video. Day 56, I warped over to the mall to see if anybody had a few mending books in stock at their stores, since I'm pretty well up on crowns and I don't want all of the tools and armor that I'm investing all of this time into crafting the perfect ones go ahead and go breaking themselves. That would be a bummer. I picked up a few potion making ingredients from Rookie's stall in the middle of the mall, warping back home and adding a few extra books onto my armor, and then heading up to the topmost tier of the treehouse. And I want each of these tiers to look like they serve a specific function, even if it's not where I actually do that thing, because realistically, without Elytra, some of it is really hard to get to. But I started setting up a very rudimentary potion brewing shop up here, just something that would kind of look the part. I did realize that I was very low on soul sand though, so I warped over to the nether and started searching around, just trying to find one little bit of soul sand and soul soil that I could use to be able to grow more nether wart. After finding that, I did see a bastion off in the distance around the corner that was partially embedded into the wall. So I dug a little 2x2 tunnel through the netherrack, well, pick go burr, and made my way in to the bastion. And this is going to be a very interesting place. See, the server's on 1.20, so netherite upgraded templates are a really good opportunity to make a heck of a lot of money pretty quickly and provide a very easy service to the rest of the server. Plus, with all of my Giga Fortune, I can convert as many diamonds into templates to probably arm the whole server if I'm careful. The only thing I need to worry about here is if I die, it is a huge setback as all of my good gear is on my person right now. I'm taking it slow, making my way through several tunnels, digging and barricading and blocking off areas before making my way to a few chests. And the first few that I opened seemed promising. There really wasn't something that said, "I've been looted," until I saw that iron pick that was almost fully broken. That was my first red flag. Then when I dug through the wall and saw a whole bunch of cobblestone, okay, yeah, I had been beaten to this one. That is a really interesting situation to be in that this is one of the few 100 days I've ever done where I cannot be the first to find something. That happens in the scenarios too, but it's a much smaller group of people, so it's a little bit less common, or if it usually happens, I know who did it. This is just an outright mystery, just a few blocks and a little bit of a story of who had been here before me. I killed a few endermen to grab a pearl, just to allow me to navigate the nether or save my butt if necessary, and actually followed along on those cobblestone paths, fighting off a few piglins that were just storming their way through and taking a look at Dino's armor. That is absolutely stacked. But I worked my way through for about a couple hundred blocks, and before seeing another structure and with the relatively low render distance compared to what I normally play on, I was feeling a little frustrated. So I warped back home and tried to drop off everything that I had acquired into the chests, and they are overflowing. Turns out a little 3x3 room, not a great storage area for a full 100 days playthrough. I did the best I could, but it is very slapdash, heading up to the absolute upper level to drop off all the potion making ingredients and a few of the accessories and components that were there, and planting and setting up a nice little garden, throwing the shroom lights up inside the leaves to make the tree look a little bit more naturally bioluminescent. I then cracked an amazing water clutch off of the tree to land my way back into bed. And that goes into day 59, where when I logged in, people had been purchasing cookies. This business is actually working somehow. I was starting to notice that a few of my zombies were turning into drowned, and while that's nice, I don't exactly want them right now because they do regain their AI on conversion. So I spent a little bit of time just tweaking and upgrading the monster grinder, setting the range a little bit further before dropping off a few of the pieces of armor that they had dropped that actually had some decent decent enchants on them. After that, I'm looking at this little storage area and realizing it's not gonna cut it. So I harvested all the bamboo that I could turn into planks for more chests and started digging my way into a nearby hill, just trying to set up a very medium-sized storage room. This does not need to last me for forever. It doesn't need to hold every item in the game, but I definitely want to be able to categorize and separate my loot a little bit better than just 3 double chests. As I dropped off a whole bunch of stuff throughout all of the chests, making sure to categorize it all. Day 60 though, I was completely out of wood and I didn't want to wait for the bamboo to grow. So I warped over to the mall, picking up a stack of spruce logs from Lucid's. Hi Lucid, yeah, that was me. Before seeing a couple shulker boxes in one of the other people's shops that were there as kind of a demo, and that was an oversight that they weren't protected, but I messaged the owner of that plot who said they trust everybody on the server. And you know what? They're kind of right. Everybody on the server is genuinely awesome, but they did let me borrow their upgrade template, which I immediately ran home with it in hand, grabbed all of my diamonds, all 5 of them. So that's not really a lot. I threw everything into a chest so it would be safe and then jumped down into the mine shaft underground. With complementary shaders, I was able to quickly spot a small vein of diamonds that was hanging off over a lava pit. Not the safest ones to mine, but it definitely did the job. With that and having just over what I needed now, I duplicated the netherite template, returning the other one into the shulker, actually directly into their hand, before seeing and buying up a ton of smooth stone, warping home and combining that with all of the moss that I still had from my last time I was down in the mines to be able to turn in several additional stacks of mossy stone slabs to the night market. 11,000 crowns for just a little bit of work. Definitely a positive ROI. But some of the newer players didn't know where it was, so I did spend a little bit more time as that day rolled over, running between spawn and the night market, showing the new players where they needed to go. Okay, so the next few days are going to be a little bit different and potentially a little bit more chaotic than normal, but I'm going to let me from the moment explain what was happening. This is going to be interesting. I'm sitting in a Discord call after my stream with about 10 members of the community. I'm going to see if I can play on the server with them in the call while playing as not me and just give random commentary to see if somehow they don't notice that it's me. Now, the only problem I have right now is if I ever messed up the VPN, which I don't think I have, but if I ever messed up the VPN, Sierra is streaming in Discord, and my IP address and the fact that I'm on the same IP as my main account will get leaked to everyone in the call. So this is risky. This is potentially very risky, but we have to do it. All right, I'm gonna unmute. Funny thing is, when you were doing it to me, I thought you were doing it on purpose.
No,
when you were doing it to me during my stream.
After
you were.
I
Okay.
was because I was just testing it on you to see because your reaction is faster.
So how do you open
I mean, it worked.
night market again?
You have to go in during its hours.
Night market
How do you
reopens.
open the
night
not
you
open
reset
right
the
now.
night.
It opens in about half an hour
opens itself.
or so, right? Like it opens in the evenings.
It does not like me reloading it. Interesting.
I was like,
It's like
Did
should
you
be
break
able to.
it?
Oh, never mind.
No,
Research.
no.
Did you just have to restart the server?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna
Oh
have to
no. So I'm doing this one mod pack that's a bunch of dungeons and stuff like that. Could be fun.
does it have Born in Chaos for the dungeons?
What's Born in Chaos? Is that the like Dead Cells looking kind of one?
It's like a ton of monsters, a ton of custom dungeons.
Oh no. I don't want to use that one too close to having it be in the scenario.
Fair.
People would be like, oh, we just saw this. Why are you doing it again? Kind of. I found one person who's trying to sell a cave spider spawner in the
Yeah.
mall.
For how much?
Yeah.
I don't
For how much
remember
was
how
it?
much it was. It was under the server's price, but I don't remember by like how much it cost.
Okay, the server's price is like 35k.
Yeah.
These things are worth about 2.
Oh no, I feel so bad for them.
Okay, so I will give it say that TBF does have a little bit of surprise for the dragon fight.
Oh boy.
There are
But I'm
plans
not
that are
saying-
being made. That is all I will say.
That's not concerning.
We
All I'm
have
saying
we
is,
have a few plans.
all I'm saying is, y'all, I'm gonna stream it. Please. Make it last longer than 15 minutes.
Contemplate.
Nuke the
Oh.
server instantly. Got it.
oh, don't worry. We have content plans.
Okay, good.
same.
I'm here for
Same.
this.
This is very out of the blue and very random, but can you pick a color for me?
Blue.
Any specific shade?
Oh, that's okay. This is just got way more complicated. Hold on.
Would you like a hex code?
I was gonna say, do I need to go find your skin file and grab the hex?
No, I'm just gonna go
He
pick a
has it,
random blue.
actually.
No, I'm just gonna go pick a random blue. I have a color picker in my browser, and I'm gonna pick a random blue that looks kind of nice.
Alright, because I'm working on character design right now, and it's a really big one for my personal OC lore, and I wanted to give you the honor of picking it.
Oh shoot! Okay, hold on.
No pressure,
picker
just the
enabled.
god of vanity.
And no pressure.
God
You
of
just have to pick
vanity?
the perfect
Oh
color.
god.
I'm putting it in the beach. There you
How
go.
do I end this?
I'm putting it in the chat for this channel. There you go.
You
Oh,
don't.
thank you. Thank
Set
you
up
when it is
something
done.
at a land. Say, hey guys, you want free diamonds, free gear, free enchanting table use, free XP farm? Here.
Have some
Problem is,
communism.
who supplies
How
the
about
free everything?
socialism?
Yeah, we just enslaved Dino. Problem solved.
I was gonna say, that's
You
the
know
problem.
what? Yeah,
have
let's
to have
do it.
it. I don't like this idea.
No, let's do it.
I do
We'll
not
start
consent.
T-posing ominously at you already.
That's okay, Dino.
Here's the thing, though. If you're gonna take from the dino and give to everyone else, you have to call it the Meteor Alliance. One person
good.
got it,
That's
and I'm
good.
happy with that.
No, it just wasn't a good enough joke to be allowed.
Pretty good.
I liked it.
Okay, this is one of the few points where I'm actually going to add commentary on top of the Discord. This was potentially an interesting play and something Sierra gave me grief for later. Everybody's talking about how much upgrade templates are selling for, and meanwhile, I'm standing here in the mall right next to some of the people who are in the Discord call right now, setting up a shop to sell upgrade templates and using what they said as my base price. This is probably the closest I had to potentially giving myself away. But if I'm doing this, I'm committing, and I really genuinely think that selling these upgrade templates is probably my easiest way to make a whole bunch of crowns. There's nothing stopping somebody else from just buying one and then investing their own diamonds, reselling, or undercutting me. But if everybody thinks that it's an easy way to just get some by going to me, or well, not me, but also still me, that will probably work.
20 seconds. I'm on the clock.
All right, so 30 seconds.
I'm getting the fuck out of the way.
Hey, look, he's dead.
Didn't you have a totem in your
Can I
hand?
not equip it? I'm stupid.
I don't
myself.
have
He
to
looked away for 1
Okay,
second.
so it needs.
I'm being given diamond blocks. I'll accept it.
Anyone want to see my base?
Yes.
Sure.
I mean, you guys want to tour
Okay.
around?
I'm streaming right now.
Oh, hey, I was spinning.
He's dead. Dino, stop committing crimes.
Civilian casualty. I'm not getting into this mugging. I'm not getting into
Where's
this
my
mugging. I
head?
wanna live.
Here. I picked it up, I think. Yeah.
I built a
I have
very
upgraded it
low
twice
song.
because of the diamond sales.
Mhm.
That's it.
Diamond sales?
You're selling
Wait.
diamonds?
You're selling diamonds for how much?
Ninja and Dragon Dad wanted some diamonds.
I'm not gonna friendly boop Rise again because he isn't wearing armor. I
Wait,
can
is
tell
Rise
that's
about to get obliterated? Can somebody screen share? I want to watch it.
Oh, you
I
missed
know,
it.
already
don't hit
obliterated
me.
one.
I'm
There's
only a
an
level
accident
1 god.
Hold on, if I'm gonna get obliterated, I'll put my stuff away.
Somebody screen share. I need to see it. I need to
I
see
already
it.
accidentally obliterated Rise 1.
Okay, who's where the murdering is happening?
I am.
Me.
No, but who's like here and streaming that I can watch the obliteration?
I am.
TNT.
TNT.
Okay. I'm watching your stream now, TNT.
Okay, Rise, you
Whoa,
ready?
okay, I almost got shot.
Let's have the Dragon Slayer.
Press cruelty.
Username, you are in danger
Oh.
close. Okay, never mind. That
I
was
thought it was- I thought it
instantaneous.
You instant killed.
Yeah, no, that's the Dragon Slayer.
All right, I'm out,
Does
guys.
anyone want to see my base?
Bye.
Want to tour?
Actually, I should really focus too because this, with everybody's conversation, Mudcat's gonna get this and he's gonna be like, why is he talking constantly for this one? So I gotta put it in the notes of just like, just drop my mic. I said nothing of value. I will catch you all later. Bye. That was, that was chaos. And I am genuinely terrified of Dino and what has to happen. Because he's going to be a menace. He's basically the final boss of the whole video, not the dragon. But I've entered into economic warfare with the black market. This is potentially a very dangerous decision. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Let's log out and see how many netherite templates I sell between now and tomorrow. And that was it for the day. So don't worry, it gets a little bit more quieter and normal starting on day order 66. And I started that day by teleporting out into the wilderness and just going ahead and chopping some trees. I used most of the wood that I had collected to finish up the chest wall in my storage area and then focused on the farms that I had at home, those of both the plant and animal variety. With a bit more leather, don't tell Peter where I got it, I used item frames to label most of the chests just so things could be nice and neat and organized before checking the night market and realized that I was just underneath that 3-day timer reset. So I thought, let me purchase some stone, and unfortunately that was out of stock, but I have a bunch of moss now, so that's good. The next morning, with shaders making a wonderful sunrise in the mall, I am back to work. I wild teleported out and then found somebody doing the Wadsy one-line challenge, and just a straight line carved through a good portion of the server. I followed that for genuinely about 5 minutes before it came out at a village. And yes, this is where they gave up and just started playing normal Minecraft. But I kept going and figured I could head down into a random cave somewhere off in the distance to re-up on diamonds so I could make more netherite upgrade templates so I could sell more at my shop. And with Giga Fortune and Vein Miner and everything else, this is so easy to be able to just collect all of the resources in one single block break. I love the custom enchants that we have. But as it neared the end of the night and killed off a few mobs, I just warped home and got back to work. Because the next day I needed to do some work down on the pier on the lower part of my base. I want this to connect to the river so that it feels like it's also a part of my base. And I live both in, on, and under the tree. I'm going to build a bunch of different utility rooms in the mountain itself and potentially like a nice little ship or something down here. Once that was built, I made a new sword, enchanted it, and started combining things because this 100 days is ending with a massive PvP battle and I'm a little under geared at this point. There are players in full netherite, one-hit kill swords as you just saw, and I'm just petering around with some basic enchants. I kept rolling on my pick to try to be able to pick up more of the really cool pickaxe enchants like blast mining, but unfortunately didn't have any luck. I am getting a little bit better for my armor and tools though. I'm getting there. On day 60 nice, I had to deal with some solicitors at my front door before getting started with more work that day. First things first was smelting up some of the iron that I had collected to be able to make some anvils and other things. And then since I still didn't have a silk touch pickaxe, I smelted up all of the cobblestone with the abundant coal that I had that I can convert that into more moss slabs for another run at the night market at the end of the day. I then spent the whole day doing a little bit of additional decorating around the base and continuing to connect and enchant my tools. Finally getting a silk touch pickaxe, which makes the aforementioned smelting feel a little bit weird, but that was all running while I was doing it, so look at that. It's a win-win both ways. And after a bit more enchanting and a bit more zombie killing, I headed off to the night market with multiple stacks of slabs and earned myself another cool 10,000 crowns. Definitely nice. Day 70, there were some players in the chat that were talking about a really cool cave that they were in, but they needed help because they had accidentally died. So I teleported to them to play bodyguard basically again, because even in my full diamond, I'm better than somebody who's naked, and I'm just collecting all of the diamonds and ores and throwing them off to her. It turns out, and I realized this, that this mineshaft is my cave, like the other end of the cave system that I live in. So this is another one of my neighbors. So I headed off to my base to pick up a pickaxe and then warped back to allow them to use it to share. They then asked if I wanted to check out their base, and funny enough, I had seen this on stream actually. What I didn't see was the Legundo plushie. Yeah, they like having a few jokes at my expense. But following around with my new neighbor and exploring what they had done to decorate the underground was really nice. And when they see this, they're gonna freak out that I'm actually living next to them. So that's cool. You know what else is cool? Logging in the next day to a wonderful notification. I sold a spawner. Yes. Oh my goodness. There's so much money in my pockets. Okay. Lots of people online too. Busy day. With a bit more money in my pocket, I warped back to Spawn to check out both the daily bundles and pick up my daily reward. It was the author's bundle again, so I'm pretty equipped to deliver on all of that. All I'm gonna have to do is go around and kill some chickens. Dino needed some lime dye, so I went and dropped that off once again to tempt fate in one of the most OP players on the server, and I was invited to the murder basement. Now I have a bit of a history with murder basements, So nope, I was not making that mistake again. I went back over to the mall and did a little bit of shopping. And once I was done window shopping, I picked up a Looting 3 book, except it was out of stock at the first shop, so I had to go to a second, to throw that on my sword so that any feather collection that I was doing out in the wilds was significantly more effective. I also found some squids, which was nice, and with looting, I only needed to kill a few to get everything I needed for multiple written books. So I was actually going to be able to complete more of this bundle than I had originally intended. The next day, I also collected a few feathers at home because you can't only live on takeout, you need to do a bit more, before warping to spawn, passing by and trolling Sierra a little bit just so I could help him. He needed some nylium and some warped wood, which I was able to drop off. I did drop off the bundles first before heading over to Hole in the Wall, dropping down the nylium, bone mealing it, and teaching my editor how Minecraft works, basically, because he's really only learned through editing these videos and then occasionally playing on the server. It is genuinely funny. But after that, I grew some trees at home to be able to get shroom lights to put up in the leaves of the tree, hitting a pretty nice water bucket clutch on the way down, and just getting more ready for combat with some enchanting later in the day. Day 73 was spent fighting with more warped trees who refused to give me the good glowy goodness that they have hidden inside, and it's just a bunch of kind of weird blue blocks. I purchased all of the remaining protection books that were available on sale through the black market, as I was getting really bad luck with my enchantment rolls on my armor, before spending some more time at the zombie grinder and doing a little bit more enchanting and combining with the books to be able to get my armor up to snuff for the dragon fight at the end of the video. But I also thought it was time to upgrade my setup a little bit. I had a ton of crowns in my pocket, and it was time to take this grinder to the next level. So I warped to spawn and picked up a skeleton spawner as well. This would allow me to be able to collect additional resources from there. Bone meal would be wonderful, but realistically, this is just to get me even more mobs to be able to kill, which once it was set up in the actual grinder, I'm now getting basically 2x. I invested almost everything I had in my pocket to upgrade this several times so that it would be spawning more mobs and doing so more frequently, and we are immediately overwhelming the system that we currently have. So I started mining down a little bit further so that the mobs would take more damage in their overall fall, and it would be a little bit quicker for me to be able to kill them all and harvest those good XP and other gains. And since I have an elevator, it's realistically not that big a deal. So as I was carving out a pretty nice space for it, I reset the elevators, moving them one block over just so they'd be a little bit better aligned. But I thought I don't want this to just be a drab, boring mob grinder room. I want this to be a little bit more decorated. I did need to make sure it worked though first, so I'm breaking the slabs, just sending zombies falling down quite a bit further before sealing off that chute so I don't just collect mobs passively in this room without any chance of noticing them. And that spills over into day 75, where I'm making this place look pretty good. A custom geode on the back wall with some glowberries hanging as the primary lighting source, converting a lot of the walls into deep slate and other natural materials. I want this to feel like it is a cave that just happens to also be filled with murder and not just a room that is purely utility based. Some slime dripping on the back also felt like a nice touch. It kind of fits in but doesn't, but it does definitely look like something that I put there intentionally. With some spruce trapdoors surrounding the mobs so that way they wouldn't be able to escape even though they don't really have brains. I spent a little bit more upgrading the skeleton spawner one more time before breaking the torch, allowing everything to spawn and heading down to the killing chamber where it immediately overflowed. That is a problem for me tomorrow. I'm going to bed. And tomorrow me immediately regretted that. Oh my. Oh no. Oh no. What have I done? I spent a pretty significant time this day just cleaning up my mess. I'm actually laughing at myself because this is just funny to watch. But once I got everything set up, I realized that there was one fatal flaw with the system so far. The spawners needed a range upgrade in order to actually be able to reach down to where I am, and nothing was spawning. And I was only off by 1 block. So if I stand on top of the trap door, things actually spawn. But if I don't, they don't. So I'm gonna have to invest more coins into that relatively quickly. Right now, my easiest way was to just teleport back up and do so. But oh my goodness, the storage is overflowing already. And I'm gonna need to put some serious work in to make this thing manageable, or else it's gonna start lagging the server. Editor's note after the fact, players have taken this to the extreme, and this little farm here is barely a rounding error in the overall amount of mobs that exist on the server via spawner farms. It's really cool to see how people have taken it. The following day, I took a break from the spawner since it was working now and did some grooming around the base, as well as turning in the final feather to fully complete my daily bundle. After that, it was time for a bit of farming. I'm still a potato man, RIP Techno. Before you get it, back down to enchanting. I popped Soulbound on one of my pickaxes, which is awesome. So I threw that on my fortune pickaxe, meaning that even if I die with this in my inventory, it'll persist at least once. After that, it becomes a little bit less effective. But I warped over to the night market, checking out what the enchanting books were, and Thor 6? I hit people with lightning? Oh, heck yeah, that sounds awesome. Plus, the new night market purchases were in, those being cut sandstone slabs, stripped acacia, and gold swords. A little bit trickier to farm, but entirely possible if I can be smart. I checked to see what the cost of a piglin spawner would be, specifically a zombie piglin one, and it was way outside my price range, so I'm gonna have to do something creative to go get gold swords. I thought for a second I should check if any of the zombies I had fought had dropped those, but I don't think that's actually in their potential loot pool. So after taking a quick nap the next day, I figured maybe it's time to head over to the nether. My thought process here is if I could find a good spot or potentially trade with some piglins, I could barter for a few of the things that I really wanted, or really just get some more netherite upgrades or upgrade templates or smithing templates, all of which would be good sale options from my shop. I did fight a few of the zombie piglins that I found along the way, but with so many players online, the mob cap for naturally spawning mobs is pretty low, and it's hard to really set up a normal farm here. I made my way through a soul sand valley, killing endermen before stumbling on a new bastion, one that didn't look like it had been explored because all of the brutes and mobs were still inside, which was a good sign for me, even if it was a little bit dangerous. I dropped in, grabbing a chest, finding both a lodestone and the snout armor trim. Huge finds generally. Those could both go really well. I fought off any of the piglins that were attacking me since I was, robbing them, grabbing some obsidian, a very decently specced out crossbow, and whatever gold I could find. There's another armor trim in another chest and another crossbow with flashbang, which is such a fun enchant to be able to use on other players. But after clearing out most of the space and heading off and stealing the gold statue on the bridge, this felt like a pretty big win. I could turn a lot of this into potentially gold swords to trade in, but I think the better option is saving it and turning it into golden apples that I could be better equipped for the fight at the end of the video. So I just threw it in the valuables chest for right now, using the lodestone primarily as decoration, since I can warp home whenever I want. Some vanilla features don't have as much value on an SMP, then you're just going for fashion points. The next day, I did a quick little bit of farming around the base before grabbing my nether prospector pickaxe and heading back down into the nether, digging deep this time instead of ranging far out, just trying to get some more netherite. I want to get my armor fully equipped and upgraded, as well as several of my tools, and having fortune, in a sense, on this makes the ancient debris mining process a little bit less painful as you get bonuses here and there. I spent a good portion of this day mainly mining along the chunk borderline so I can double up on my chances. I don't have a lot of gunpowder, so excavating in this way is the easiest way for me to do things. And I turned out that I have 18, 19 if you count the one scrap that I got from a bastion. One short from a full set plus sword, but not bad. Not bad at all. I spent the rest of my night just doing a little bit of organizing around the storage room, converting a lot of the ingots into blocks, and seeing what sand I could turn into sandstone, turn that into cut sandstone, and at least get something from the night market, even if it was only 100 crowns. Day 80, and this was the next IRL day, so I logged in finding that I had made another sale. I was out of spawners. This is wonderful. The upgrade templates weren't selling yet, but I figured that was only a matter of time, as most players were still working on getting their armor fully maxed out before upgrading to netherite, as diamond chest plates would be easier to combine. But I warped back to spawn, having missed out on my daily login as I was grinding hard for MCC Rising at this time. So I'm back at the start of that track. I went and I checked with George, and it was once again the Cartographer's bundle, which is really good for me. Iron and redstone are pretty easy to come by with my Giga Fortune pickaxe, so I was down in the mines directly underneath my base, just picking up whatever iron ore that I could find and a little bit of redstone here and there. I have more than enough, some bonus diamonds, always good, but I spent the evening smelting all of that up instead of focusing on purchasing it from the shop, primarily because I really want to save my money up for upgrades on my spawners or potentially adding a third to that mob mob grinder. But while that worked, I spent the night taking care of the paper and other things that I would need for the bundle as well. The next morning, I headed to spawn to drop all of that off, and check out that new little animation in the corner. We were still working on the server while I was recording this video. It was so hard to not reveal things that I had found as me. I dropped off some money at the bank so it could gather interest, and then went back to my base, spending some time decorating, just throwing a little bit of decoration blocks, utility blocks throughout all of the different platforms, and throwing glowstone and shroom lights in the leaves so the tree would just kind of glow. I want it to look good. But needing some more supplies and not wanting to go buy them, I wilded to a new location, finding a whole bunch of spruce trees and some creepers causing me problems. I was running around collecting that, heading over some snow-capped mountains, finding a really cool spruce village the following morning, which I proceeded to steal their bell and the lanterns and just general goodies. I continued walking along, just seeing what I could find and getting jump scared occasionally, so I figured I'd return home, dropping off all of the supplies that I had collected and trying to keep my inventory organized. I am not doing super well, but I had received a message from Sierra, and he had found an ancient city and wanted somebody to back him up in going to loot it. So I collected a ton of wool from all of the sheep and took everything else that I had. And since I don't have an exit for the sheep pen, I just kind of teleport to my land spawn. But with a ton of wool in my pocket, I sent a teleport invite over to Sierra, and this is how that went down. Okay, here.
Yeah, I have 40 on me right now.
Okay, well, I brought more.
How much is more?
2 stacks and a bit.
Aye, that'll do.
Okay, hold on. I'm walking my way over. If you've already opened the chest, then it's safe to open.
Well, I covered it and stuff when I did. I just...
You little goblin.
It's safe to open, he says.
You said you opened it already.
As I was placing wool down.
Okay, stand by.
I'll have you know that I didn't trip that before you got here, so that's on you.
Okay, that's better.
What do we
Carve 4.
Some of these custom enchants are bonkers. Like my axe has lumberjack 5, which is
I really want
bonkers.
lumberjack. I really want it. Okay, I don't see any shriekers. I don't see any shriekers. Instantly chest activated. All right, one thing that I want you to agree to now.
What are we?
We are
agreeing to?
not L spawning out of here.
Yeah.
We leave
Yeah.
on foot. Oh, that's bad. It's just impossible to defuse.
Is that a challenge?
I mean, sure, yeah. Come here and check it.
God
Well,
dang it.
how many is that?
That's 2. Legs?
That's 3.
If I lose all my stuff because of you.
I'm going to tell you right now, if I close this chest, it might set it off.
Would you like me to box you in?
I am pretty boxed in. Also, I got a hoe that has repairing 1 where it automatically heals itself.
See?
That works. That works. Teamwork.
Hyperbraining.
Hey, Sierra.
Yep.
Time to run.
Why are you running? What is the safe distance?
I don't know.
You're the
Ooh.
YouTuber.
I got the ward armor trim, though.
Nice.
I got 2 Swift Sneak 2s. With End Affinity 4 on both of them.
So just stay away from over there now, right? Oh my god, I hate this.
Why the scream? Oh, that's why.
Don't go that way. Is that
Just
a third?
summoned 2.
Yep, I'm hiding over here now.
I didn't spawn that one. It just spawned.
Where? Why are we so bad at this?
We?
Yes, we've both spawned these boys. I think I just saw your life flash before your eyes.
Nah, it's okay.
Everything's fine?
Everything's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's
We're chilling. We're chilling. Everything's okay.
Look, Sierra, you see that 1 diamond ore right there? I'm gonna go get it.
I'm gonna watch from a safe distance.
There is a shrieker right there. I'm absolutely gonna go get it though. Ooh, there's a chest here too. Okay, we're running, Sierra.
Is that 6?
Yes,
Oh my god.
we're leaving now.
Look, all I'm saying is now you can't die.
I'm leaving. I have left.
That's lava.
You okay, buddy?
Hang on.
I have a lot of books. We're gonna have to share.
Is that another one?
But yes. I don't know why more keeps spawning. How far away do I need to be before I'm allowed to warp?
I feel like if that you're asking that question, then you're far enough away. Oh, that's cute. Considering we were running from a warden, those guys are not a problem.
Here, let's go to my base.
Yeah. All right. So what did you get out of that, other than the fear of death?
See the chest that I have open? Here's the big things.
Poison ivy. I'm curious to see how that works with.
I really want the carve one. The
Yeah.
carve charge one. I'm gonna take that one. I can take the arcane defense one, and you can just take the other two.
I was gonna go. I wanted poison ivy.
Oh, okay.
Was that an allay? Allay head?
Oh yeah, it's a plushie.
Aw.
This is one of Avery's plushies. Okay, so if you need levels, Sierra, there's a teleporter.
Yeah, but going down the stairs is an experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's much more effective than mine.
Oh no, carve does not go on. A lot of these conflict. Shulker, harvest, swift sneak, wisdom. Oh no, a lot of these conflict.
The
It
aesthetic
is.
of this place is fantastic, though.
I'm very happy with it. I found the tree randomly.
All right. Pleasure rating with you.
Mm-hmm. I have really cool pants and a really cool sword now because of that.
Nice. All right, chat. Take bets right now if I die during the dragon fight.
Chat?
Comments, chat, same difference.
After spending some time with my friend, because that is a benefit of playing on the server, even if nobody knows we're actually hanging out, I was focusing more on building out my base. I had actually installed some resource packs, so the leaves look a little bit better now, you might notice, and I really wanted to spruce up the rest of the treehouse that it matched that kind of natural wonder, and keeping things where it looked complete, while also trying to make it look like it matches, was definitely hard. But after throwing down some scaffolding and some hanging lanterns, I'm definitely feeling a lot better about the base than I was when this recording day started. Of course, as soon as I go to get a final shot of it, it starts raining. Thanks, Minecraft, so cool. There's a very fancy replay mod shot playing right now, which you all can see but I can't see, but you will see at some point in the future, and I hope the base is looking nice. Quite a bit more work to do, but I'm exhausted, so we're gonna call it for tonight. Day 86, and we're only about 2 days out from the dragon fight on the server, where the end will actually open. Right now, even if you find a stronghold, you can't go there. It's blocked off. But I'm gonna need a stronghold if I want to be able to compete for the dragon egg. So I warped off to the mall, purchasing some pearls, and then heading up back to my base, I threw an eye and started swimming. Now, you've all seen the following of eyes throughout normal terrain, just trying to get your way to a good chunk where it starts to pan down. We've all seen that dozens, hundreds of times if you watch speedrunners like my friend Curry. But something about traveling through this terrain, which was genuinely different from anything that you see in Minecraft, and increment the whole I love the terrain on our server counter again. But I don't know, I had a ton of fun doing that, seeing some of the biomes that I'd never seen anywhere else, and probably would never see again, let's be honest. I made my way to a shipwreck, which I converted into a bit of a boat considering how much water I was actually traversing, but just on time, the eye turned around. What followed was a slightly embarrassing amount of failed triangulations until I eventually found the chunk that the eye turned downward in and dug my way down into a mineshaft, getting noticed by a few members of the chat for making it into a stronghold. As the day rolled over, I made my way into the library where there were some really great books here. With all the custom enchants, there's some cool stuff, and I'm gonna need that for me or any potential teammates for the fight, because I'm thinking about it more and more, and it's realistically no good way for me to go into this alone. And since Sierra already knows, maybe I get some other aspects of Decim to join me as well. Once I had found the portal, I created a new land, Dragon's end, setting the spawn point right here, allowing me to warp quickly between that and my base, and bringing any friends along for the ride if I can do it. I took the books that I had collected from the stronghold and improved my sword even more, getting a very cool dash ability added onto it, but now it's too expensive, meaning I'm not going to be able to get mending. This thing is done. But it might be all I need. Well, almost everything that I need. I need to upgrade it to netherite, and to be able to do that and my pickaxe, I warped over to the nether and did another day's worth of excavation. Using nether prospector, I was able to convert just 4 or 5 ores that I had found into a full 13 ancient debris, which was huge. That's all of my armor and most of my tools upgraded to netherite. So I did that. I converted everything that I possibly had to netherite, making sure that it had mending on it as well, and repairing it all down at the mob grinder. I also took all of my armor and upgraded it the following day. I invested whatever money I had in my pockets, some of it coming from my soon-to-be future teammates, and upgraded the spawners, adding the range enhancers so that they would work even when I was down at the bottom of this killing chamber. With all of that done, I rerolled enchantments on my chest plate a few times just to try to get to protection 4, or at least some other good enchants, rolling soulbound, which was awesome. That means even if I died in the fight, this chest plate would stick with me. So knowing that I could just add protection 4 on that with a book, yep, you bet your butt I was keeping it. I put first strike on my axe so I could have a really powerful crit hit to attack players, and then purchased a few protection 4 books, running back to my base to put that on all of the armor that wasn't upgraded to that fully. And with everything rolled, and with all the enchantments I'd possibly want on renewable chest plates, I grabbed my netherite ingots and fully trimmed and upgraded all of my armor. It was time to look the part. Now this looks just a little bit more in character, don't you think? So now fully equipped, I needed to do a little bit of cleaning. There's no world download for this one like there is normally from Patreon. There's just a server that you can all play on. But I needed to go grab a bucket of lava from one of the volcanoes, heading over to the mob spawner, using that to both clear out the mobs that were inside as well as the contents of some of the chests. I warped back to spawn, seeing what the daily bundle was for one final time, bone mealing all of the different plants that I had from around the base to be able to collect all of the dyes needed for a final little payday. And when I woke up the next morning, the smelting was complete, so I warped my way back to spawn, turning in all of the different dyes to George, ending up with a nice little chunk of change, and then heading out to a random location in the wild, hoeing away leaves, trying to find apples that I can convert into more golden apples so I'd be more prepped for actual combat utility. I spent a good portion of the day doing that. Somebody's gonna stumble across those at some point in time in the world and think there's a dead tree biome, but nope, it's just me. As it got a little bit later in the day, I warped back to spawn, checking out the night market, finding the 3 new trades that were associated with it. I'm at the point where I don't think I'm going to be grinding for a lot more money, but it is nice to know I can get a little bit more if I just happen to be short on another upgrade. The next day, when I logged in for that day of grinding, peep this notification. Beck just purchased an upgrade template for me for 5k coins. That's gonna become very important in about 2 minutes when you all see what my decision as far as the fight will be. Okay, so yes, I'm getting a few other players together so I have a proper team, and I am letting them know kind of what I've been up to for the longest time. 96 days of being undercover, and then 4 where I play with the team to really get into the fight. Give me a little bit of slack here. Hi.
Hello there.
Hello.
What's up?
Sierra was telling
How
you
you
about.
doing, Archie?
I'm doing good. I can't believe I've found your vault.
Hi.
So,
I'll
this
keep it a
has been the
secret.
master plan for 2 weeks now.
Nice. I just bought stuff from you.
I'm taking it all. I'm taking
I've
it
been
all.
waiting
It's
to
all
do
mine.
that for a while.
I'm taking it all.
What am I
Squints.
supposed to say?
Squints. I just bought stuff from you because I
What am I
thought you were
supposed to
someone
say?
else.
Brain's dead now. My mental.
You killed him so good, you killed his mind.
Anyway.
Do you want
Stop.
your stuff back?
Let me have my moment. I had this plan, and then you're like, let me just add Gundo to the call ahead of time with no warning.
Also, look
Okay.
at Cactus's profile
It was
picture.
very cool, I will say. It was very, very
Cactus, you don't say a word.
cool. What?
So, hi.
Hi.
I've been playing and grinding out. I've been getting ready. Thank you for your purchases. That's definitely appreciated.
Yeah.
You want a couple more?
Yes. Yes.
There you go. Let me show you something.
So yeah, like I don't know your plan for all this at all yet. Still.
Hold on. Just all TPA to me in about 3 seconds.
Hey. Oh. He's gone.
TPA to me.
See, I don't need to because I have the mod.
And you're on video abusing admin powers. So really?
Yeah.
I've done some prep.
Yes,
Indeed
clearly.
you have.
And this is set as a land?
This is a land. This is safe.
Great.
I'm not gonna lie, I half expected you to make us pay taxes when we joined the land.
Tempting.
This was going to be my next overnight mission when less people are online.
Yes. Well.
Now I don't have to.
Yes. All I'm saying is we have a portal. Now show me what you've been up to.
Yeah. All right. Land. Starlight Castle.
Only the 4 of you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Rise
that
has an
I am this
idea
person.
because of end fight planning. That is all I know.
You've been here for 15 seconds, Cactus, and you already messed up the garden.
It's fine. I will warn you. If you go into the pit beneath the ballroom, there is an ancient city.
Ooh.
And some of it is still active. It was definitely looted like early on by someone else. But this has just been for my own personal lore and building. But I will take you to the armory first. And then in here, we've got the armor sets we've been building up, as well as extras and enchanting books. We've got weapons and ammo in here.
So can I get my stuff back, Archie?
Cactus.
You want your stuff back?
No
I'd
profile
like my stuff
pictures,
back.
no teasers, no nothing. This is
Yes,
this
you
is
can
the
have
big
your
reveal
stuff
on
back.
Friday's stream. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, harming arrows from the villagers downstairs.
The villagers. You have a harming 2 arrow villager.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm very good with villagers.
I like
Okay. We
that
need to
you
coordinate some stuff then. All right. Everybody warp to my land.
Whee!
All right. Cool. Start looking in the books here. If you need experience,
We do have our spawner set up.
this is better.
It probably is.
Over here, you passed it.
Oh,
It's up here.
That's just a massive lush cave system that's down
Who
there.
died?
who do you think?
The only thing-
I got the stuff that fell down here.
Yeah. Also, I
But-
need to get my levels back now because somebody.
Gee, I wonder how that happened.
It did
Yeah.
not give me your XP.
I
thorns.
just hit level 30,
I hit you once.
and you did half a heart of damage, by the way.
Exactly.
I appreciate how aesthetic you've made everything.
Yes.
It's for a video.
It's for a video. It had to.
So I did math earlier. I don't know if you saw it. Dino is assuming first strike is procced in Goliath at his 4 stacks, which is bugged by the way.
Yeah, we know.
He can chunk the Ender Dragon for half its health in one shot.
The Ender Dragon has resistance too.
I did not stutter. I know.
Oh boy.
That being said, that's with Goliath and First Strike, which are the one-time thing. So probably realistically end up doing 20, 30 a swing. But
Okay.
still.
Hey, I earned that. Give me that.
Fine.
Thank you.
I wasn't in any armor, but okay.
I don't have any torches.
Archie
You
has
need some?
Got it. Okay.
Yes.
Not good.
What's not good?
Hey, there's a lot of XP.
You gotta crouch. Yeah.
Yep. And then right at the bottom.
Yeah.
Boop.
That's it.
Maxed. The only thing is they need to be range 3 to reach down there. So I just upgraded it twice.
Appreciate it.
Nice.
Okay, so I have another 35,000 crowns.
Oh my god.
Thanks for your purchase, by the way.
You're welcome. I've been a very consistent customer of the Dragon Dad shop.
Do we need more netherite?
I have 17.
Here's another 2.
Hell yeah.
I spent time leveraging my significant amount of money, as well as any of the resources that I had collected to gear up my new allies. We need them all pretty well set up so that way we can hold a chance in this fight, because it is going to be an all-out brawl. We spent time coordinating back at their base, sharing potions and other resources. They had been able to do things that I had not. I had a bunch of stuff that they didn't, and we can kind of just share, ping pong back and forth so that everybody was far more equipped than we would be independently. I do have this really cool enchant on the sword.
Ooh, yes, I got that on a random store day 1, and then my sword broke, and I was so sad.
I will say,
Aw.
here, Beck, enjoy the name.
Nice. I should use my other laugh for that.
Yes, you should. There you go.
Is that the seer voice?
Yeah.
Is that the voice for our D&D campaign? Who knows?
Yeah,
Somewhere-
there was people in lore chat, in the Legundo less chat, being like, the warrior's totally gonna show up. He's totally gonna be at the dragon fight.
What's up?
Yeah.
No, they said you're going to appear as the warrior.
Yeah.
Oh.
Is it bad that we've been in a call for however long and I've only just realized this is for a 100 days video?
Wait, do you have footage of Beck buying things from you?
Yes.
Damn it!
Yes! But my favorite new thing was my brand new bow, which is full on teleports behind you, nothing personal. Check it out. Sierra, I need to see how the telebow works.
Everyone's favorite target.
So,
Where's
okay.
the Western duel music?
So just back up a bit.
I can feature it later, guys.
But now you get it off the top. Ooh, that frost effect.
Fight.
So just, how far back can you get? Go stand by that tree.
Can you aim that far?
Shut up.
Oh!
What did I say?
Wait, hold on. Oh, land. It's
Oh.
land borders.
Ha!
Okay, it's not my fault.
Not that hill.
You did find a pink sheep, didn't you?
You can go far with that.
That's pretty good.
That's amazing.
Oh!
Oh.
This is my new favorite thing.
What just happened?
Okay, I'm
And
sorry.
These will respawn over here. Oh!
Wow.
I wonder if I hit the dragon with this.
Yes!
That
Oh my
sounds like
gosh.
a terrible idea.
I'm gonna go flying.
What do you mean? That sounds like the best idea.
I was gonna say that might actually be an effective strategy.
Legs.
All right.
But yeah, needless to say, this information is highly classified until Friday.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
We're not quite an elite team, but we are a
I don't
team.
need an elite team. I
What
need
do
a-
you
I
mean?
need
We
a
are the
good.
best team.
I need a good play.
Yeah.
Contemplate.
Is it worth it
Perfect.
to spend
Yeah.
the money on a new Minecraft account that's just Legundo's name backwards?
Hang on,
Okay,
changing
Del?
my alt right now.
I have one last thing I need to do before I head off.
Group shot.
No, I
Ah.
am Legundo. No one will believe you.
Oh, the temptation to copy that message.
Done. And I am gonna warp to spawn really quickly. I just need to pop my way over here for one last little trip
I
over
don't
to
actually know where the
spawn.
library is, so this is very good. I can't follow you because I
Other
don't
direction.
know.
Oh, I know where it is. Yeah. Portal look very nice. Just have a little bedroom, have a little armor spot leading to the portal.
I can't take. Oh, I can put things into the barrel. I cannot take things out. So the book is in there now.
Where is it?
You can take it out. Put it back.
Yeah, I'm just checking.
Take the other. No, actually, take the other trash out, and just put that in the middle,
Ah.
dead middle. Thank
Still
you.
closed.
Everyone go back to the portal for a group selfie first. Legs.
The photo will not leak. Correct.
Cactus.
Yes. Why am I the trouble child?
Join me up here.
Armor off.
All right, where are we looking?
Team photo.
Yay!
Cactus taking out of your hand.
My emote while I'm
All right.
I can't.
That's the plan. And with lore delivered and the date of the dragon find rapidly approaching, it was finally time to reveal myself. I lied to you all about a few things. I've been lying to you all about a few things, and we need to discuss it. We need to address it because there's some things that we should talk about very quickly. Firstly, I think the most important thing is that I lied about what the next 100 days video was, because it is not the Stardew Valley one. That is coming later at some point in time in the future. I've been living a double life, and I have been not only operating and doing everything that I can do as Legundo, I have also secretly been playing on the SMP since it launched. And I will be competing against you for the dragon fight in just a few moments. I have interacted with dozens of you. I have been playing with and alongside of you. I have played some of you. And this has been so wonderful and so exciting. And this is the next 100 days. It's time for the final element of this, where I am also going to be taking part in the dragon battle as the one, the only, the Dragon Dad 22. I am so excited that this worked. So the fight was on. There was over 100 players on the server, about half of which were actually engaged in combat. Some were mainly just playing cleanup crew, trying to make sure the players wouldn't lose items. There were some technical difficulties in the stream. It was a little bit scuffed, so it wasn't perfect. We had things like spectator arenas and extra platforms all ready to go, and it didn't exactly work, but we do our best. But the fight itself was intense, just an all-out scramble and chaos. You don't know who's a friend, who's an ally, who's a non-combatant, and there was a lot of just random fights that I was picking with other players on the server. This being the one time that there was PvP, there was also some people pretty quickly coming for me as well. The invisibility potion that I downed really helped me stay incognito and under the radar, even though my armor trim made me very easy to pick out of the crowd, at least for my allies who knew what they were looking for. But the dragon, even with resistance, even with all the players fighting each other and not the dragon itself, it was inevitable that its death would come. Between all of the enchants and extra things that players had for power, on top of just good strategy and overwhelming numbers, at one point the dragon was felled. And then the real race began, the real fight. It's not about killing the dragon, even though that is something that we tracked. Instead, it's about getting the egg and getting out via the fountain. And there was a ton of chaos, with players doing the best that they could before realizing that they could do a really cool strat by building up over the portal, and our dragon egg respawn mechanic would put the egg up there for them to collect. And once they had that, they just dropped down in, and we had confirmation. And that's when I thought the fight would be over, and me and my allies, while we had not claimed the egg that we were here for, had at least accomplished our goals. And then everyone turned against me. As if guided and unified by some unknown voice, something that put them in my direction, everyone was trying to take me out, to remove me from this place of power, from my allies, from myself, from the island that I call home. They came up with some really creative plays.
That has happened so much. There he goes.
Oh no! What was that? But I was warping around with pearls best I could, and preventing them from being able to catch up to me. That wasn't until I made a critical mistake and dropped my sword, the Edge of Decim, my main weapon, my ability to cut through the multiverse. And with that stripped away, while I had other tools at my disposal, they had the numbers. And without the ability to do everything that I was capable of doing, eventually, I fell. And that's the last thing that I remember. Or maybe it was a dream. I don't know, I just can't shake the feeling that this is where everything started. The multiverse will be mine.